All right, this is the testimonial interview with Judith Lopez Buqueño. All right, I think we're May 12th, 2026. All right, you ready, Judith?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, Judith, so great to have you with me today. And I'm so excited about this. This has been fantastic. I often call you my superstar. You already know, you already know that because of some of the incredible things that you've been doing um, since we've been working together. So I would love to kind of start out today and have you just kind of share a little about your story and who you are. So you tell everyone your name and where you're from, what you do. We'd love to hear a little bit about your background, how you got started in your business, and tell us a little bit about what your business does.
My name is Judith Lopez. I have been in business for 5 years. Prior to starting my own business, I was in the education system. So I was a teacher and a school counselor for 15 years. And I was looking, um, with the encouragement of my husband, was looking for a business to start to build for retirement. Was looking to do something different. And so I found Gelu. Gelu is a franchise company. I found them and I thought I liked the concept. It was simple enough that we are a mobile business. So what we do is we sell Italian ice in food trucks. And so we started in 2021, and we started with one van, and it was just my husband, myself, my little family of four, my teenage children that helped and worked the van. And we quickly found that we needed more vehicles because we were getting really busy. And so, as with growth happens, now I'm up to four vehicles in 5 years, and still growing and wanting to grow more. My goal is to continue to growing. But within 6 months of me having my first vehicle, I left my job in teaching, and or as a school counselor, and dedicated myself to building the Gelu Italian Ice business in Baytown. I didn't say where I was but I'm from Baytown, Texas. And so then after within 6 months, I left my job and I got a second truck. So um, that happened. And so growing and with growing, just involved more need for like employees and, people to help and things like that. And so that's me, and that's where I come from.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank
It's
you.
always, just take that leap of faith and to move forward with your dream. So you are familiar with DRDA. So how did you tell me a little bit about your relationship with DRDA?
So I was looking after being in business for a few years and growing the business, was wanting needing more funds, and so I was wanting to use my retirement funds for continuing to grow the business, and that's how I found DRDA. And I was actually introduced or referred by a previous client of DRDA, who would had gone through the similar thing that I needed to go through, which was a ROBS or a Borsa process. And so DRDA is known for doing those types of transactions or setting up corporations like
Yes.
that do that. And so I was referred by that business owner that had used DRDA for that same purpose, and so reached out to them, and they were great at helping me go through that process, and that's how DRDA became part of my business.
Awesome. Awesome. So then walk me through this next part here because some kind of way you found out about the Business Advisory Services Division of DRDA. So kind of walk me through how that happened. How did you get introduced to Bass?
So I guess being a client of DRDA, and of course, DRDA set up my new business through the Borsa process. I got an email from James, letting me know that they had these opportunities, like a free sales masterclass and there was another type of business type of class. And at that point, I was, I had done it all on my own, and I didn't know, I knew that, I would take like different courses through like a small business development center, because I'm not naturally a business owner or an entrepreneur. I was a counselor and a school counselor, and that's what I knew. And so I didn't know a lot about business. I mean, the most basic things I knew about business, and my business was running okay, but I knew that it could be better, and that I could be better. There were skills that I didn't have that I know I needed.
Mhm.
And so when that email came through, and of course the DRDA name was attached to it, I definitely trusted the email, and responded to, yes, I'm interested in learning more about this opportunity. So then I replied to the email, and then I got a phone call explaining a little bit more about what the services that were offered, and it sounded great. And I said, sure, send me more information. And so really that's just kind of how it went. And I just kind of went along with it, but it was something that I knew I needed. And so because I was still growing, and I was kind of all over the place.
Mhm.
I didn't have a
Yeah,
lot of focus, and I knew there was a lot of things that I was doing, that I needed to be doing, what I needed, it came at the right time. That email did.
that's awesome. So it was like perfect timing for you. Just like
Yes.
came right in at the right time. Perfect.
Right.
So I remember the email that, well, the conversation that you had was about the strategic life and business plan.
Yes.
And that's when I called.
Mhm.
And once that was established, that to take advantage of that strategic life and business plan, as you were waiting for the classes to begin, the sales class to begin. And so we went through the strategic focus map, which is our first meeting. What did you think
Mhm.
about after that first meeting, you and I kind of coming together and doing that first portion?
Well, it was very eye-opening. So after the first meeting, I knew there was a lot of gaps in my business. Like I said, we were just running on basics, and the business was growing, and I think it was heading in a good direction. I mean, there was nothing technically wrong with it. We were growing. We were, our sales were improving, but I wasn't necessarily seeing the fruits of that labor.
Yeah,
And so I knew, I needed to figure out where I could, how that could help me, and so I wasn't really familiar with business coaching. I'd never really heard of what it was. But after sitting down with James and Dane, they helped me see where it could go. And it sounded really like good and doable. It was very, like, it sounded like, yeah, that's very doable. Like, we can get there. And so I was able to see some of the gaps um, of my business, and maybe some of the things that weren't implemented, the systems that I didn't have in place, that needed to be in place, and how they could help me. That it was, it made sense. Like, yes, and also it helped me to know that I needed to focus on certain areas. And some were good and solid, but some, there was a lot more areas that I didn't know that, were involved,
yeah.
that I needed to focus on, and really to help me grow.
Yeah, yeah, and fabulous. And I know that during that time, we did the strategic focus map, and then
Mhm.
to your point, doing the second part of that, which was the strategic planning session, where we were really able to uncover golden opportunities and quick wins that could really catapult your business to the next level. And you had your husband there. And Eden was there and supportive, and he was like, "Go for it." How was it to have him there to kind of hear what was going on as well, and joining you a part of that process at the very beginning? How was that to have that support system there?
Which my husband was a big part of why I own a business. He's the one that has like the entrepreneur spirit, so he is always the one encouraging me to even start a business. Probably if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never taken that leap to start a business, just because it was, it was not a natural thing for me. I can't say I was happy in my 9 to 5 job, but it was just what I thought it was always going to be my life. And whereas he saw differently for me. And so to have him there was really really great because he helped me. He also saw the fact that this could be of value to me.
Mhm.
And so he encouraged me to go ahead and go with it because he could see the value in what was being offered. So yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. And uh, then we launch. We start
Mhm.
working together, and I want you to share a little bit about your experience with the advising, the coaching that you're participating in right now, and kind of talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you have uncovered. Let's go this way. Let's look at the business. What have you seen happen and change as a result of the guidance that you've experienced with business advisory with DRDA?
I think for me, the biggest thing has been just my own personal growth as far as being a business owner.
Okay.
So that going from like how to manage employees and how to, recruit employees. I've just seen a lot of growth within myself and more confidence in being that CEO and making those decisions, as hard as they may be sometimes. I that's all a testament to my coaching because it has provided me with that confidence and just those steps on how to do it. Everything that like big decisions, I always run it through James or Jay, so I always feel encouraged and supported that way as well. But man, the ideas that have come that I've been given, and just things I would have never thought of to do or say, or how to approach certain things and situations. The business coaching has really just helped me with those things and growing just as a CEO or business owner myself. Has given me a lot of skills that that unlock things in me that I hadn't didn't know that I could do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen it personally. I've seen your growth and your development. And just, I think you said it earlier, it's just the confidence that you
Hmm.
have. And you've always had it. It was
Hmm.
just needed to be pulled out of you, right? And
Yeah.
really to align yourself with it. So
Hmm.
it's been um exciting for me to watch and observe. Your business is growing as well. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, your first quarter has been incredible, and you've seen the growth there. There's been some things that you've put in place, some key
Hmm.
performance indicators, some metrics that you're measuring by, those things like that. You broke down what it would take to have that incremental growth lift year over year, month over month.
Hmm.
Uh, and also, you've kind of put some things in place that would continue to kind of monitor those things to inspect it, what you expect, so to speak. So,
Hmm.
can you talk a little about some of that, some of those things that you've now started to install as a result of the advising?
Yeah. So um, numbers are not my specialty. And James and I have talked about that numerous occasions. So I don't, that was a piece that there was a big gap there. So Eden is my numbers guy. I call him, my husband is my numbers guy, and so he's the one that like kind of keeps holds me to the fire on that. And but now James as well.
Yeah.
So we talk numbers a lot more than I like. But what I have learned is that numbers are crucial and important, and you have to know your numbers. Like that is something that it's being ingrained in me, and I am getting better and growing in as well. But that is something that I am more mindful of, and I pay more attention to. And everything now, I won't say everything, but a lot of things now in the business, I am thinking about numbers. And so because it's just something that I've been coached into. And I've seen how they impact and how they can make a difference. Like um, I've seen how, like, we've started taking, like, for example, tallies of how many samples we give to how many people, will purchase based on the samples. And so that was that had all been a guess. Like, James asked me on our first meeting, well, how many people, do you give samples to that actually buy? Well, where it's like about, we say it's like about, but we had no clue because we had never like actually like calculated it. We just
Right.
guessed, oh yeah, it's a lot, yeah, like most people do. But now, that we actually started to track it, well, now we have a number, like I can tell you a percentage, like, oh, it is like 85% of the people who sample will buy, because we
Wow.
started to track it. So like now I can tell you a number, and previously I was just guessing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
those kinds of things that we've started to do make a difference, because we can say that we can say it's about this much, but now that we started to track certain things, we see how we can better, we can improve, we can change or whatever needs to happen because we have numbers that back it up. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's an example.
Yeah, that's a great example because, hey, when you know that number of 85% of the people that try it buy it, I'm trying to make everybody taste it, right?
Yes.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm
Yes.
serious. So we're going to taste, we're going to make sure everybody's getting that. No, that's
Yeah.
fantastic, Judith. And I love that. I also, some of the things that's happened too with you with just the teaching piece, you've really started to hone in your sales meetings with your team, the
Yes.
huddle meetings, and how you deal with that, and really providing opportunity competition within the group when it comes
Mhm.
to cross-selling and
Yes.
upselling. Kind of talk a little bit about some of the things you've done that since your time with coaching. Talk to us about what you've done in terms of building your team.
Mhm. So, starting Jalou, like I said, we started with just a few handful of with just my family, and then it's grown and it's been growing. And so, there's not been ever like systems put in place to, like, where everybody does it a certain way. Everybody, sometimes somebody else is training. There's not been any systems, and so through the coaching, I've learned that systems are very important and that we all, need to do it the same way and be consistent with it so that it's done and it can be measured throughout because we have systems in place. So since starting with James, we've put systems in, like, just checklist on, what to say to the customer when they come to the window. So we're all saying the same, thing, offering the same services, and letting them know about our services. Um, and so that has been something that we've changed. We didn't used to have meetings. So it was everything would go through me. Like I would, send a text to, we did have a group chat, but, where I'd send information, but we'd never really meet about it. It was just me delving information to them, and them asking questions if they had questions about it, or if I happened to see them, before they went to an event, I, give them information, but maybe the other person didn't get the information. And so then I couldn't remember who I'd already said that to or not. And so, like, literally, we had no, there was no meeting place. And so, yes, it seems very simple, but, to have but it was just not something I'd ever invested in, like, time and place for everyone to be able to give ideas and have that buy-in. So one thing also that in working with James is, when working with other people or like your staff, your employees, is that it's important that they're bought into what they're selling or what they're doing for you, and into their job. And so, how do we do that? And so James has really helped me to grow as a CEO, but also to help my staff grow, in the sense of, like, now they're feeling more invested because I'm asking them, and their opinion at our weekly meetings. They are, telling, I'm asking them, well, what do y'all think? And, what's the solution? What are some solutions that we can come up with? Or how can we work together on this? Or, whatever. And so they're more invested. And so that has been another thing that, we've focused on, and it has really helped with the staff that we have, and helping my growth has helped them grow as well.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, that's phenomenal to see. I think because when they see the leader leveling up,
Mhm.
right? And then it becomes really contagious. So very, very proud of you for that growth. Here, just one last thing is, I know that with you've been doing this for a while, and from a marketing side of things, I know marketing is one thing that a lot of business owners really try to wrap their hands around and try to figure that part out. but you've put some things in place recently that we walked through of how to really build your email list so that you can create revenue, right? By building a captive audience. Can you kind of talk a little about some of the things that you kind of deployed to kind of build loyalty or to build your email list so that you can have more conversations with potential customers down the road or increase the lifetime value of your current customers?
Well, because we were growing, I didn't always feel the need to market. I just thought, oh, well, it's just organically happening. The business is just, we're becoming more in demand, and so I didn't feel like that was something that I really needed to focus on, and I didn't really spend a whole lot of effort on. I would post on social media, and that would be pretty much it. And until I met James and started working with Jay, I realized that okay, there is way more that can be done here, and how in order to really take it up a notch and take it to the next level, that I really needed to do some stuff for marketing. I never thought about celebrating loyal customers or repeat customers. Like I had that. Like again, my background is not in business, and so I never had that course in marketing, or how to or why it's important to, like, for businesses to grow, you have to have repeat customers. And so that's something again that I've learned. And so when and James asked, do you have a is it a CRM?
Yeah, yeah.
A CRM for emails? And I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, obviously didn't have one of those since then I do. And so now we send weekly emails, and actually have gotten people to respond to them, and wanting that had our services before. So the emails that I did have were people that had our services before, started sending them emails, and they were people that maybe within the 5 years that maybe had used us once, and then now they're responding with, oh yeah, like I remember them, like yeah, let's get them back out again. And so yeah, I
Mhm.
have had people reach out based on those emails that we've sent out, that had used us before, and are like, oh yeah, let's use you again, we had forgotten about you. So those emails were a great reminder to them that we're still here, and they're like, oh yeah. And so people, because we're a mobile business, people always want to know where we are. And so now, we include our schedule in the weekly email, so people get our
Mhm.
schedule and they can know where to find us. And so, we're putting things in place like loyalty cards, and people, they're like, oh yeah, they'll get their 10th cup free, after buying 9. And just simple things like that I had no idea that could be helpful,
Mhm.
have really helped to bring people back to us again. And so yeah, it's really things that I didn't think I needed, that I needed, that have
Yeah.
helped. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's incredible. So, thank you for sharing that. So, listen, first of all, I want to say again to you, thank you so much for taking this time. I
Oh,
know you're
absolutely.
busy. I know your schedule is crazy, but when it comes to just getting out there and doing it, however, you have created this calendar, which kind of helps to manage your time in the chaos,
Yeah.
which is another thing that's great. Because I know that with business owners really trying to compartmentalize and put things in place so that they're not spinning plates. And so I know you have a lot on your plate, but we've, been able to work together to install some things to really manage your time. Can you speak briefly about that, about just the way to view how you spend your time and that your time should be placed in revenue generating activities versus stuff that can get you kind of sucked in? Can you kind of talk a little
Yeah.
about that too?
Yeah. So I have found myself being the end all be all of the business, from the one that cleans the freezers, to the one that schedules the events, answers the phones, and does all the the paperwork, this just doing everything. And so there was a lot of Jay helped to help me through seeing what are some things that I can that just don't generate revenue, that I could, maybe have someone else do, or pass it on to someone else, because it's not, generating revenue um, that that is helpful. So, have put some things into place where now I have, people, who are going that do the inventory for me, that, deep clean the freezers, that, wash my trucks. I was even washing the trucks, which didn't happen as often because I didn't have the time. So like having somebody do those things, and, just making a list of things that, that I could pass on to someone else, like even automating things as like, sending emails, having somebody, create the calendar to send out on those emails, and just little things like that. Create my website, like, that James
Yeah.
helped, give ideas on where to find someone to do that for me, to build a website. And so just those kinds of things that, just going through my day to day and being like, okay, what, generates revenue? What is something that, is not, CEO time, that is building the business. So trying to get out of the working in the business to working on the business, and growing it, has, and calendaring everything from like, I'm going to spend these 30 minutes on, make calling back, leads, potential leads. I'm going to spend these 30 minutes of the day and calendaring those things, like on, you know, uh, my went blank, but like just, calendaring during all the things that are going to generate revenue, and putting them in the calendar to make sure that they're getting done, has been like a tremendous help. So that, when that it's time to make those phone calls, my calendar's telling me it's time now. Stop what you're doing and go do those phone calls, for, because that's what you got to
Right.
do. And so that's, been a tremendous help as well, to get me focused, and to make sure that it gets done and it's done consistently.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of business owners suffer
Hmm.
from that, where their
Absolutely.
time is really being controlled by the business. It's
Right.
running them instead of them running the business. So,
Right.
really installing those frameworks that are necessary to get your time back is really important, and to control the chaos. So here's the last thing,
Mhm.
and we'll be done for today. What would you say to someone who is kind of on the fence? They're going through some things. They're wanting to really build their business. They know that they need to get their time freedom back. And, like you just said, they're working so much in the business that they're not working on the business,
Mhm.
and it's controlling them. But they may be on the fence, or maybe they're afraid of, like, will it work for me? What would you say to someone who's kind of thinking through it right now and saying, will coaching, will business advising from DRDA and the Business Advisory Services Division, it works? What would you say to that person right now, that's kind of on the fence?
I would say that it's definitely worth a try. Like, I have, um, I think I was ready. I was ready to take that leap. Like, James and the DRDA crew didn't really have to, for me, didn't have to do a whole lot of selling, because I was at that point where I think I had reached my capacity on what I could do on my own, and I needed help. But definitely, I would say try it. Like, I mean, it's there's nothing that you're not going to lose from trying, from giving it a shot, because you'll only get better and you'll only grow. I think, at least that's been my experience, and I think it's definitely worth a shot. And so I've been, I took the leap, and I said I'm going to try it, and I have not regretted it a second. I think I've only, gained so much more knowledge and confidence, and my business it's reflected in my business. Um, and I would just say do it, go for it. It's not going to be a loss at all. It will definitely just help you and gain a lot from it.
Well, Judith, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today,
Oh yes.
and sharing your story. And I know that your story will be an inspiration to other owners who are out there, who's really at that point where they too are like, it's time to take things to a different trajectory. And very fortunate for you spending this time with us today. And for anyone who listens to this, would encourage you to contact, DRDA, and investigate the business advisory services. And we're excited to support and to help as many business owners as we possibly can. That is a mission for the company, and we're excited about doing that. So once again, Judith, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you great success, continued success on your journey. And I know that the best is yet to come. Thank you
Thank
so
you. I
much.
appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.